Hey, Lordy, look at the time.
Empowered.
Let's kick this off. So we are back with another solo-ish podcast. So last time we did a podcast with just me talking, and Elle was asking me questions, but she was off camera, and we just think this will work a little bit better. So it's going to be another kind of solo podcast, again, getting in questions from you guys. We've had a few more really good questions come in, so we just wanted to jump on and answer this. Also, today we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we're thrilled with that, to be honest. We really appreciate it. So obviously like and subscribe if you're not already. But yeah, we do really appreciate it. And we just want to keep having these conversations, really. And we want to continue to talk to interesting people and continue to give you guys these Q&As to give you a bit of an insight. So Elle is now in the video, so that's cool. So she's here. Say hi.
Hi.
And Elle's going to be asking the questions and I'm going to be answering them. So let's kick this off.
Yeah. So, first question from the people is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned so far in life?
The biggest lesson I've learned so far in life, I'm going to give you two because they're pretty big and they kind of coincide and they overlap. So, the first one that really hit me is that it's actually all about people. Like, people make you successful. Like, out there right now, someone's got the opportunity to just transfer £10 million into your bank account. Like, a person has that capability to change your life, your family's life, and your kid's life, your kid's life. Like, I know it's not all about money, but that would change your life massively. Someone's got the opportunity to put you into a position to succeed. They could give you the best job ever. They could really help you. So when you realize that it's just people and it's people making these decisions, like, money is just an inanimate object. Like, it doesn't really even exist. It's just, an agreement between two people or a person and an establishment. So it really is all about people. It's about the connections that you make with people. It's about, broadening your network and realizing that, if you come from a working class background like I do, you can actually just sit down with a group of people and come up with a plan and come up with an idea. I'll do this for you. You can do this for me, and we'll do something together. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't realize that was the case. I didn't realize that you could start a business. I thought that, I didn't know how businesses were started, but I definitely didn't think you could just get some like-minded people around a table and hypothesize an idea and come up with a solution and put things into place. So definitely, realizing that it's people and meeting people and doing things that show how kind of capable you are and showing how competent you are at all times is going to really benefit you in the long run. That's what I've really realized. And then kind of an evolution of that, once I got into work and once I realized that actually I could just give myself a seat at the table, and as long as I provided some value, then other people would kind of see that and reciprocate that. The next thing was, everybody's told it's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's definitely the people element of things. But actually, if you want real success, it's about who knows you, who knows who you are and what you do, who is your audience, who are the people who know about you and want to do things with you. Because when it comes to opportunities, inbound opportunities are way better than outbound opportunities. If people are coming to you with ideas and opportunities, you're 90% of the way there. So increasing your sphere of acknowledgement is, 9/10 of success. So they're the two kind of main things. It's all about people, and it's all about people getting to know who you are and what you do.
So, kind of a related question, but what has been the biggest challenge in achieving your goals?
Sometimes I feel like you can be burdened by potential, and you can feel immense pressure to do what you believe is expected of you. I think that can be something that holds people back from, achieving what they want to achieve, because they can't find that humility to take a little bit of time to achieve something. People want to drill 10 holes to find oil, when really they should have just drilled one really big hole. They should have just drilled really deep, because there's lots of external expectations. You've got to you've got to be in good shape. You've got to be making money. You've got to have good relationships with the people in your life. You've got to be seen to be giving. And there's a lot of expectations. And actually, you can do all those things, but it's just going to take more time. So realizing that you're on your own path, that you're doing your own thing, you're on a journey, but you might just be taking different size steps to other people. People underestimate what they can do in 10 years, but they overestimate what they can do in one. They want to achieve instant success, because obviously we're in the social media era. And I think that's something that was stopping me from achieving my goals. You're seeing someone do this, so then you try and do that. And then you see someone else do this, so then you try and do that. And you don't actually stick at one thing for a long period of time. But actually, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with social media. And also, you're exposed to the 0.001%. In the past, you might have only been exposed to people in your city, and then you might have felt like you were doing really well. However, you're exposed to real unique situations. You're exposed to people that every single thing happened perfectly in sequence for them, which allowed them to have great success. I'm not saying they weren't talented, and I'm not saying people didn't work hard, but they're also sequences in success. Natural talent, an ability to work hard, and then the environment in which to put those things into practice, and other external factors just compounding to allow their accelerated success. You don't see the 99.9999% of people who didn't have all of those things click at once and didn't have that kind of 0 to 100 success. So taking in too much information and allowing that to kind of keep knocking you off course, because you think, well, actually, I could have kind of quicker success doing it how that person's done it. And actually, what you've realized is that you've just hindered the successful route that you were on. So I would definitely say that as the main thing.
Okay, I want to know the answer to this one as well.
Okay. Is this your question? Did you write this one in?
It's not my question, but the people want to know, what celebrity do you look up to and why?
That's a great question. I was really nervous when you said celebrity there, that it was going to be something about Selena and Hailey. That's what I was really nervous about, but I'm glad that it wasn't, because I don't have an opinion on that.
Yeah.
Which celebrity do I look up to? Obviously, growing up, it was your athletes. So growing up, I've always, looked towards athletes as my source of inspiration. I'd say LeBron James has been someone that, on and off the court, greatness is something that you can really aspire towards, because even though he's the best basketball player ever, he's also a really, really good person. And, I've got other sporting heroes who, have done amazing things in their sport, John Jones, but then outside of their sport haven't always kind of kept that up. And to be the best at what you do, but also have all of those other areas of your life firing as well, is just the next level of excellence. I really from a business perspective, I really like the the business people who've kind of built a really good personal brand as well. I think that's really inspiring. So, the likes of Richard Branson, who's able to build such a huge personal brand and let that kind of spill into his business brand, and in fact, build his business brand even bigger because of the strength of his personal brand. So that was really cool. And then just some people who are in the kind of media space. So like, obviously I listen to Joe Rogan all of the time, and that's really inspired me to kind of want to have conversations, because I can see the power of like the spoken word. And then just the way he's able to, do many things at once. I do want to do loads of things at once, and that's why I'm happy to move slower, because I'm doing the things that I like to do. I'm happy to, work on the business and do this and pursue other things as well, like still pursuing like physical goals and still pursuing other goals where I want to like achieve many things, and to see him, not compartmentalize, but capitalize on different areas and different interests, and actually carve out a business based on his interests. Like, loves watching the UFC, commentator on the UFC, getting paid to do it, loves telling jokes and be the center of attention, comedian, loves having conversations with people, the podcast, like everything, he likes doing them. So he's found a way to monetize them so nothing feels like work. I think that's a huge inspiration for me, to just do the things that I love doing and feel that if my kind of mindset's in the right place, then I can capitalize on them. So yeah, there are just a few people that I kind of look up to. Yeah.
Okay.
I could probably think of other ones, but I can't think of any off the top of my head now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a really good question. What do you believe is the difference between being successful and being fulfilled?
Your mindset. I think you live inside of your own mindset, and I think that any amount of extrinsic success without like coupling that up with intrinsic motivation is going to be short-lived, because you can't be fulfilled if you live by other people's standards of success and happiness. You've got to marry them up, and that could be, to be fulfilled doesn't necessarily mean that you have other people's idea of success. I feel like success can be seen as being more tangible, but it's important to work to your metrics of success in order to feel fulfilled. You can be successful by other people's metrics without being fulfilled by your own metric, and therefore, are you even really successful? So, for example, people will put financial metrics on success, and that's all well and good, but you get used to your situation really quickly. Like, if your income goes up to £1 million a year, you'd very quickly get used to that. And by someone else's metrics of success, you're absolutely smashing it. But by your own metrics, you'll now want to be making 10 million a year. And you'll be so used to living on 1 million a year, the things that you bought with that and the luxuries that you afforded yourself now feel normal. Like, the thing that I love about like training and exercise and all of those things is how incredibly good the human body is at adapting to its environment. If you do something consistently, your body will adapt to it. That's why I love training so much, because you lift heavy weights and your body says, shit, we do this all the time. We lift these heavy weights all the time. We best start increasing the muscle mass that we have in order to do this so it feels easy. And eventually those weights will feel easy, but then you'll go up again and you'll want to lift heavier, and then your body will go, oh, I know what this is. We need more of this. So if your body adapts, but your mind adapts as well, you get used to luxuries very, very quickly. Like, if you live in the Western world, if you live in the UK, you're 99.999% of people who live in the UK are living somebody else's dream, and you don't even know it. Like, you're probably in the top, you're definitely in the top 10%. You're probably close to the top 2 or 3%, maybe even the top 1% of income and levels of comfort. There's billions of people living below the poverty line, living in conditions that you couldn't even imagine. However, because you're conditioned to this, you feel like this is normal, and maybe even you feel like it's shit. Like, I know so many people live in the UK who don't like it, but realistically, that's just because they've not been exposed to worse environments. So external success is very subjective, and fulfillment, it has to come from you and you feeling happy with where you are and fulfilled. And I don't think you feel fulfilled unless you're moving forwards. I feel like you've got to be setting yourself little goals to get better. So yeah.
I like that.
I don't even know if I answered the question there.
No, you
but
did.
I spoke
You did.
a lot.
Definitely
So that's probably
did.
good. It's good for podcasting, isn't it?
Yeah, you wrapped it up well.
Speak, make people think you know what you're on about. Yeah, it's next.
Okay, next one. What podcast do you follow?
Ooh. So Joe Rogan.
Obviously.
Yeah, but I don't listen to all of them. I've recently really started liking listening to the MMA fighters, although I used to avoid them ones. But now, as I'm becoming like a bigger fan and getting into it more, and doing like some martial arts training myself, I find them insightful and like kind of useful as well. Whereas I didn't really like listening to them that much. I try not to listen to the comedians as much because I don't have that much time. Obviously, if there's certain comedians on, if Chappelle's on, if Burr's on, if Theo Von's on, I'm going to listen to it and allow myself like that time. But I try and listen to podcasts to try and learn things. So, you know, if there's a professor on, if there's someone who's like an expert in something on, I'll really try and listen to that. I try not to get bogged down with the political ones too much, mainly because it's American politics. But also because, you know, you can be 3 hours late and not really know much more other than someone's like take on the political landscape, and usually they're pretty similar. I will listen to Theo Von sometimes, but again, that's more of like just to enjoy myself. I really like listening to I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called like Marketing 101 or Social Media Marketing. I know I've like told you to listen to some of those ones.
You've sent me that one. I've listened to it as well.
Yeah, he's good. He just gets different people on who do different social media. So one day the person might be really good on Facebook. One day it might be someone on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. It's usually really different, and they're usually really, really good. I do listen to Modern Wisdom. So that's Chris Williamson's podcast, especially when he's got people on who kind of fall into those like kind of brackets. So, you know, if they've got someone like David Goggins on, something like that, I really find them useful. Gary Vaynerchuk, I will listen to his. His aren't really a podcast. They're more like sound bites from stuff that he's done. Sometimes the audio quality is bad. See, there's another thing. The audio quality is probably good. It's probably okay. But because I'm so used to the super crisp audio of like Joe Rogan's podcast, like it makes me feel uncomfortable listening to it. Grant Cardone's, I think, is really good. He's really motivational, and I find some of the things he says interesting. A lot of his stuff's kind of geared towards real estate, but I think the principles of what he teaches are transferable, regardless. Okay, so I always say irregardless, and Elle said it's not a word. I don't think it is a word, but it's kind of embedded in me now.
Let us know in the comments if you think it's a word or not.
But I don't like when people say over-exaggerate, because you either exaggerate or you don't.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
But you think
first
that's
time we
right?
met.
But you think over-exaggerate's fine?
Because it is a word.
Well, exaggerate's a word, and over is just, you know...
We can't get into this right now.
I want to know in the comments, irregardless is probably wrong, but do you say it? And if so, why? Over-exaggerate, you're exaggerating, or you're not.
Yeah.
So how can you over-exaggerate?
It just makes the point even stronger.
But irregardless does that.
No, it doesn't.
It just adds a bit of pizzazz to it.
No, because that prefix...
It just adds a bit of flair.
That's not the... Okay, you know what? Moving on.
I want to know in the comments. Next.
Okay. We probably have time for one more question.
Okay.
You're going to like this one. What do you hate the most?
I hate the most hypocrisy. Now, I'll go into this. I just really don't like really hypocritical things that just don't... When people say things that just don't make sense, or they'll just say something and then it just is contradicted, not even necessarily by their actions, because I think sometimes like hypocritical. Like, sometimes you want to do one thing, but you do something different. But you know that you shouldn't be doing that. But sometimes it's difficult to do the right thing all of the time. So when people act hypocritically, I can kind of understand it, because you try and hold yourself by a certain like standard, and it doesn't always work like that. But I just hate it when like people have ideologies that are innately hypocritical, because it's like, can you not see why those things don't go together? I could probably think of some examples, but I can't.
was going to say,
can you
give us
think
an
of some
example?
examples of things that I've said that I hated, that were hypocritical?
For you, particularly.
Like what things are?
Oof, you
It's
put
more
me on
like
the spot.
ideologies that are hypocritical.
Yeah.
Can you think of any that I complain about?
You complain about when somebody says that they really hate something, and then they do that very same thing.
Yeah, I get. There's got to be like some. I'll definitely think of some later, but there are some things where, like, their entire argument is hypocritical.
Yeah, I don't want to give too specific examples
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah, there's some political ones probably, which we'll probably go into at some point. But yeah, just when something's like the ideology behind it it doesn't make logical sense, and I can think of one, but it will not. But yeah,
We'll
I'm
go
sure I'll
there.
think of some, and I just wanted to get that out there, because that'll be a theme throughout, that I don't like hypocritical ideologies. So when one occurs, you'll hear it and you'll go, oh yeah, he doesn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got one more then, because I didn't really answer that question.
Yeah.
Go on, then we'll do one more.
Right, okay, one more. How do you stay motivated at difficult times?
Through routine. I think as soon as it becomes a routine, and not like you're not having to bank on motivation, because motivation's almost like an emotion, isn't it? It's almost like it comes and goes. So if you can make something part of your disciplined routine, then you don't even need to feel motivated to do it. I think that's the key. And I think the way to become disciplined, I've found, is to kind of stack things on top of each other. So, if you're doing one thing, pair that up with something else, so that you can kind of always, like, if you have to do a task every day, then stack that with something that's going to be good for you to help you be disciplined. So for example, every time I go downstairs and turn the lights on and everything that I have to do, just go downstairs, turn the lights on, open the blinds or whatever, I always put the kettle on. And therefore, when the kettle's boiled, I'll make myself a pint of like warm water, which is good to start your day. And that's just a way that I kind of stay disciplined, and then I don't have to be motivated. And I just make it part of my routine, go to the gym every day. So regardless of whether I want to or not, I kind of book it in. So say, for example, I agree to train with my training partner, 6:15 every day, and that kind of outsources my motivation. And then I'm not like, should I go to the gym today? Should I not? It's like I'm meeting him there at 6:15. Like, what am I going to do? Just not turn up? And he just turns up by himself. So I think, like, factor in your routine and kind of stack things. So I'm stacking meeting him at the gym. Like, I meet you at 6:15 at the gym. Like, what else are we going to do?
Do you think a big part of it is accountability?
Yeah, accountability, but like try and get other people involved with that as well. So if you can train with somebody, then that's really good. If you don't have that luxury, then it's about doing other things that kind of make sense to put together with that. So, like the best one is kind of finding other people to like do things with you. So if your motivation dips, then you can like lean on their motivation, and then you're both kind of holding each other accountable. So the people that you surround yourself with will definitely help in that respect. I think they say you're accumulation of the 5 people you spend your most time with. If you spend your time with people who aren't up to much, who aren't doing things that you want to see in yourself, you're probably not going to do those things either because it's outside of the norm. Similarly, if you're spending time with people who like really think it's acceptable to stay up until 3 a.m. in the morning and, you know, sleep in and not do the things that they need to do to get to where they want to get to, which is fine if that's what they want to do. But if that doesn't suit you, then you've got to surround yourself with people who are kind of on the same mission as you, because that's going to help you get to where you want to be. Any more questions? Oh,
I guess we can wrap this up.
Cool. Let's wrap this up. Right. Really appreciate you guys sending questions in, and please send more. Link in our bio on our Instagram to ask us questions. And yeah, next time you see us, we will be with a guest. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Again, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. It's, you know, going to help the channel and help us to kind of keep doing this. So cheers, guys. And thank you, Elle,
You're welcome.
co-star.
And thanks for 1,000 subscribers.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.